Tuesday morning. Jasper Gonzo here. What's next? Morning, everyone. Today's video. Sadly, this is something that is very personal to me, only because of my feelings towards it. And like I said, this is a serious video, but at the same time, it's a very truth-telling video, factual video. And when it comes to the nonsense, the politicizing of this situation, and it's truly sad. It's truly sad. So, but more of my thoughts at the end. Let's take a look. This comes out of Breitbart. Report: Texas abortionist ended 67 pregnancies in 17 hours to beat the heartbeat ban deadline. Let that soak in for a second. 67 pregnancies, 67 babies whose lives were ended within 17 hours to beat Texas's heartbeat bill, which took effect midnight. An abortion clinic in Fort Worth, Texas raced to terminate as many pregnancies as possible before midnight Tuesday when the state's heartbeat abortion ban took effect. The 19th reported in a dramatic piece last week. According to the gender and politics independent outlet founded by the two former editors of Texas Tribune, abortionist Marva Sadler of the Whole Woman's Health, one of the largest abortion clinics in Texas, said 4 hours before the deadline, 24 women were still packing and waiting in the waiting room, hoping to end their pregnancies before the law took effect. 4 hours. Over a dozen women. Wow. The abortionist terminated 67 pregnancies in 17 hours, racing to beat the heartbeat ban, said the report. The race to perform as many abortions as possible until midnight when the new Texas ban on the procedure became law. Quote, "We are not the bad guys here," Sadler told her staff. "We are doing everything right, and we're going to help everybody we can. If there's somebody we can't help, it's not our fault." According to the report, the staff worked without stopping to eat, shifting patients in and out of rooms in the lobby. People who had been waiting 5 hours or more when they were asked, when they would be called, they had to pick up their kids. Their ride was leaving. Their family members were outside because of the cough. Yeah. Knocked on the front door to see what's happening. Would they be seen or turned away? When Sadler returned to her abortion clinic the next day, the law was in effect, and she knew she would have to turn women away. Quote, "How unfair," she kept thinking, that those women yesterday were helped, and that women today would have no help. The U.S. Supreme Court decided 5-4 not to block the heartbeat ban, which prohibits abortions once a fatal heartbeat is detected, generally 6 weeks gestation. The new law also contains a unique enforcement mechanism whereby any private citizen may file a civil lawsuit against the abortion provider or any other individual who aids or abets a criminal abortion. However, Judge Maya Guerrera Gamble of the District Court of Travis County, Texas, a lib, granted Planned Parenthood application a temporary restraining order against the Texas Right to Life, which spearheaded the new law in the wake of Supreme Court decision. As Breitbart reported, the TRO blocks not only the Texas Right to Life, but up to 100 individuals associated with Texas Right to Life, which means anyone outside of those 100 people could still file the civil lawsuit. And of course, according to Gamble, she wanted the entire bill, the entire law blocked, which of course she can't do. She can't do. One, it's state law. Two, the Supreme Court upheld it. So she was going to be shite out of luck. Quote, according to this judge, the Texas law created a probable, irreparable, imminent injury to the interim for which plaintiffs and their physician staff patients throughout Texas have no adequate remedy if plaintiffs, their physicians, and staff are subject to private enforcement lawsuits against them under SB 8. The TRO, in effect until September 17th, a preliminary injunction has been set for September 13th. I'm just going to move on to the next story only because they're all tied into each other. This comes out of the Blaze. Pro-abortion churches in Texas vow to fight the state's new pro-life law, quote, take God back from the religious right. Yes, because the religious right basically signed a contract with God to say, hey, you know what? You're on our side. And God says, no, I'm on the right side. In churches are Texas vowing to fight a new state law that prohibits performing abortion procedures after a fetal heartbeat is detected, which typically occurs around 6-week gestation. The churches known as reproductive freedom congregations basically just call them baby killers, are united in their public support for a woman's right to kill their baby and are determined to, quote, take God back from the religious right. Details. The initiative was spearheaded last week by a religious group called Just Texas Faith, Voices, and Reproductive Justice, with the aim of training pastors on how to preach on reproductive health issues from the pulpit. Yeah, because let's not talk about salvation through Christ. Let's talk about how to kill your babies. Oh. It was officially organized in anticipation of Texas' new pro-life law, which allowed private citizens to file civil lawsuits against doctors who perform the abortions 6 weeks after anyone who aids and abets the procedure. During a press conference, the group said 25 congregations have already agreed to hold the designation, and another 70 were going through the process. According to the Texas website, to become a reproductive freedom congregation, a church must publicly affirm 3 principles. A, pray to God. B, salvation through Christ. And C, help your fellow man. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm actually talking about a real church. Excuse me. 1, we trust and respect women. Yes. 2, we promise that people who attend our congregation will be free from stigma, shame, or judgment from their reproductive decisions, including murdering their children. And 3, we believe access to comprehensive and affordable reproductive health care services is moral and social good. And to wrap this up, story number 3, this also comes out of Breitbart. McCaskill on extreme abortion law. What they are doing in Texas is going to help us win elections. Former Senator Claire McCaskill, Democrat, now NBC News contributor, because why not, said Monday on Deadline, the show that nobody watches, that the new abortion law in Texas was so extreme it would help Democrats win elections. McCaskill said, well, the Supreme Court has done something that is far beyond what I imagined they would do. I was very worried about Roe v. Wade, standing in the light of the case of Mississippi that they were going to hear in a few weeks. And guess what? It's coming. Texas law has set the table to what will happen when Mississippi goes up to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court hears their case. So get your popcorn ready for that, kids. Let's see, where was I? But the notion that in the shadow docket, in the dark of night, they would have this kind of statutory BS is really startling. Make no mistake, they put a bow on a law that says you no longer have to stand and bring your social grievance to court. All you have to do is think that you have some kind of proof that somebody's intended to help somebody get an abortion. No, old lady, you gotta come with facts. You can file an accusation just like if you were, if you went to the police and say, hey, I like to file an allegation against so-and-so. Well, what facts do you have? That's when the cops would get involved and interview both parties. Works the same way. I think it's politically very bad for Republicans that they've gone this far It appears no stopping this element of the Republican Party. That's right. I'm sure she wanted to say those white supremes. Now what the Democrats need to do is, yes, fight back, but also make sure they elevate this issue so that every woman in America understands what these folks are doing. She added, the vast majority of Americans would reject this law on its face. No, they haven't. The extreme nature of this law is what would, I believe, 80% plus would say, of course, there should be an exemption for rape and incest. That was, in fact, the issue that got me reelected. Yeah, but you're not elected now because they booted your ass out. On Democrats in Congress, they need to bring up the codification of Roe for a vote and put people on the spot that they are pro-choice and are Republicans in Democratic areas. We need to be aggressive. We need to be realistic. This is about winning elections. What they are doing in Texas is going to help us win elections. My thoughts. It's just a lot to take in. 67 abortions. Try to wrap your mind around that. Try to wrap your mind around the pace of that. Try to set records for how many babies, how many lives you can destroy within a matter of hours. Then you have so-called organized churches being pulled together, to not preach the word of God. No. Salvation through Christ. No. Being aid to your fellow man. No. On how to fight back against this law and to push back, to use politics in your so-called churches. And then you have a former senator, a Democrat, who goes on a knucklehead show that nobody watches and spouts off, well, this is about elections. We need to fight back because it's about elections. Get those, get those nasty, dastardly Republicans because it's about elections. It's pathetic. It's sad. It's disgusting. But this is what you get from the left. This is what you get from the left. Whether you are talking about President Dementia's ass-backward policies, the clowns in leftist media, or stupidity with what I just read and shown. But it's no surprise. Wow. Lord help us. Lord help us. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. I want to see more just like this. Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a thing. And hopefully the next video is on a much happier note. Catch you guys later. Peace.